Welcome back, guys. This is Comfort on Empowerment Network, and today again we are joined by our best friend Red in the house. Red, welcome.
Hello, Comfort. Hello, everyone. How are you? Good to be here. I don't get to come on Comfort's show that often, but it's very nice to be here. That's for sure.
Yeah, sure. It's always a blessing and pleasure having you here. So, guys, let's see. Red, today we say you cannot just sit and do nothing. This I was inspired by what you three were chatting on OP360 yesterday. Marty said this exact word, if not, it's almost exactly like that. And then Chris added something which showed that he resonated to it, and the three of you were agreeing on this. So I thought that you should expand a bit more on that.
Yeah, sitting and doing nothing appertains to an awful lot with ONPASSIVE. I mean, ONPASSIVE obviously within the name means it is a passive business, and you don't have to do anything. But as far as your journey and where your desires, etc., are, then it's more beneficial to you to do something with an ONPASSIVE. Now, obviously, with the things that have been going on behind the scenes at the moment, and listening to our CEO yesterday, more than ever now, the fence sitting is not an option. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you are in ONPASSIVE right now and you would like to see ONPASSIVE go into fruition and the journey continuing and all the rest of it, part of what we are here on this journey is to support our CEO and support our company. And by doing nothing, it's not helping. So what can you do to help? It's very easy. Stick a comment in a chat, watch lives, watch YouTubes, go in the groups, be active where you can and with the positivity that you can. And I assure you that this all filters down to our CEO and the company. This is where he gets his strength. He gets his strength and resilience, knowing that we are behind him, knowing that he has the support of the members of ONPASSIVE, whether they're customers, affiliates, or founders. And this is you doing something. So if you want this company to be as successful as you imagine it can be, then you can do your little bit. Doing nothing is you just waiting and seeing. It's not very helpful to the business. Now, obviously, moving forward, when we get going again, and Ash was very gracious to give us 3 scenarios of timelines as far as the relaunch of ONPASSIVE was concerned. And again, we can't just do nothing when that relaunch happens. We again have to play our part, whatever it may be that is required of us. If we want the success of the business to happen, then we have to do our part. It's as simple as that. And this is why all 3 of us on 360 yesterday were saying the same sort of things, by saying that doing nothing is not an option. In our opinion, by the way, it's not something that we're telling you to do. It's just our opinion that now more than anything, the support is needed for the business, for our CEO, and really for the success moving forward. We can't just sit and do nothing. We have to do our part where we can with the tools and the ability that we have. Obviously, if you're more vocal than others, then you have a bigger part to play with the success of the business, because it all adds to it. Now, what we are all doing right now, obviously, Chris and Marty are doing Shine a Light. I'm doing In the Chair. Comfort's doing what she's doing tonight. And Marcianne's doing French. And Narelle's doing the Pacific nations, etc., and a lot more other people as well. Julie Wayne, for instance, are all doing bits and pieces, and this is all to highlight the real people in ONPASSIVE. You know, we're not bringing in glorified, recognized leaders or anything like this. We are trying to show everybody out there that ONPASSIVE, the membership, is built on normal, everyday people that have a story to tell. And this is the strength of this business, is that it is built on love, trust, faith of the everyday and average person out there. Why? Because we need ONPASSIVE to work. People out there need ONPASSIVE to work. But more importantly, we need to have a safe environment to do business online. And that is exactly what ONPASSIVE is going to be. It's going to be a ethical, safe environment where people can have a real go at finally finding a home to be able to do some online business and make some money. Back to you.
Sure, Red. Thank you. Let me quickly just do something here. Something's getting wrong. Yes, Red. Sorry, guys. Sometimes you say moms are octopuses. If you don't stand up, yes, something wrong can happen. Yeah. So yeah, sure, Red. You know, when you were talking and you were emphasizing that the idea of encouraging people to not just stay but do something, I think I can relate to that, and I can add my voice to it, because like you can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you know, like from the spiritual perspective, I like going back to church. They will say that the idle mind is a devil's workshop. If you see few people who have strayed, you know, have gone off the line, off the rail, it's because they were just idle, not doing anything. Because if you sit here, you listen to Red, you get fired up, you go to Narelle, you go to Marty. People have their favorites, or sometimes they just like going around all of our platforms and so on. When you go around like this, we connect, and you are being fed with the right information and the right spirit, and you know, so there's no room for negativity, and so you don't think to go wrong. You cannot imagine, somebody brought up the SEC document of about 2 years ago to me. Sister Comfort, is that true? Because it's really getting, it's, you know, it's bringing stress in some, just to ignore. I say, if this is where you still are, these are the type of people we don't really want right now. So yeah, so I think looking at it, when I listened to three of you, I thought like you can look at this from two angles. You cannot just sit and do nothing, be actively involved in ONPASSIVE. On the other hand, some people apparently went ahead and either just dropped their jobs, resigned from their jobs, or they lost their jobs and did not find some because they were waiting for ONPASSIVE. Does that still fit in here when you say you cannot just sit and do nothing but wait for
ONPASSIVE? Absolutely. I mean, Ashmi Farah will be the first person, and he said it on so many occasions, that don't give up doing what you're doing right now for ONPASSIVE. ONPASSIVE obviously is going to generate the income that you desire to take over from the JOB or whatever you're doing right now. Obviously, that is going to happen. But until we are in a situation where the business is running efficiently, effectively, then you have to keep on doing what you need to do to earn money for yourself and your family. It's as simple as that. He's never, ever said, come whatever date, let's say the 1st of September, you're all going to be millionaires or whatever. Nothing like that is ever said. And if people are thinking in those ways, then that's really on them. It's not on ONPASSIVE. I do hear people saying about people who have passed, and they passed without seeing fruition of ONPASSIVE. Well, absolutely, it is very sad that people have passed without seeing the fruition of ONPASSIVE. But that's actually just life. It's not. It's unpassive. Didn't have an effect on how long these people were going to be living or not living, as the case may be. So when they start blaming unpassive that they never saw the fruition of unpassive, really, it does bother me a little bit, because unpassive is nobody's savior at the end of the day. And, you know, it is there to help and benefit hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people across the globe. And it is going to make a huge difference. But as far as being a savior to people, then that's never been promised. We are a business at the end of the day. And that is exactly what we are trying to achieve here, is to give people a platform where they can do business in all areas, in all walks of business sense, and the products and the services and the environment that we're going to be working in is all for doing business. Whether you are an individual or company, it is going to fit the bill for absolutely everybody. Now, when you were talking about can't just sit there and do nothing, this is part and parcel a little bit of when you're saying about people giving up their jobs. That's never been the case as far as unpassive is concerned. Yes, there's been a lot of missed dates and all the rest of it. But if you are truly engaged and you are listening to the likes of us and many other people as well, you also understand that when we see our CEO in the past, he has always given us the idea of where we are in the best intentions and from what he is being fed himself. He doesn't just pluck scenarios out of thin air to appease us. It is actually what he's been fed from his end as well. Now, as he said yesterday, you know, he is as guilty as anybody for not, I suppose, checking or not believing these people, and maybe things would have been a little bit different if it had gone down different routes. And like I said, in his opinion, it's put us back 2 years. Now, if you cast your memory back 2 years, that's a long time in unpassive. You know, we've only had OConnect for about a year or so now. 1st of September is when we went commercial with it, if you remember. So about a year. Now, a year before that, we didn't even have OConnect. So if you look back over that 2-year period, we would have been a lot further ahead by now. But one thing's for sure is he's extremely confident with the restart. Why? Because he knows he's got the backing and the support of the membership. He knows that it's the platform itself is so needed now more than ever by so many millions of people, that success is really assured for the company. And obviously, if the company succeeds, then all the rest of us succeed with it as well.
Yeah, you know, I'm just happy you brought up this topic where people have passed on and stuff. It's not like we don't sympathize. We feel we share the pain of every family who lost a family member during this journey with us. However, you know, on the one hand, I look at it from the positive perspective. They came here, they knew unpassive, and then they moved on. You know, that's a good thing, because their generations to come, they will never lack, because whatever they had, even if it were just one account, it's going to make a difference in their family, especially if the every information they had was like maybe passed on to the next family member. I think we still they died really smiling, leaving a legacy, because without unpassive, they would just have, many people would have died just like that. We're not saying that we're happy, but then let's look at the brighter side and think that we cannot blame it on anybody because it was nobody's fault. Then, moreover, Red, I know that you already discussed this. You mentioned it earlier on, and you discussed it on your show this afternoon. The ABCs of ash and so on, because some people, they take their attention off any other thing and they just start looking at the clock is ticking and waiting for 3 months, by maximum 3 months, and something is not here, and stuff like that. So can you come back to that again?
Yeah, sure. I'll reiterate once again what our CEO and try and put it into the best layman terms as I possibly can so that everybody can understand. What he said was he's putting it in the likelihood scenario in order. Okay, this is what he is hopeful and expecting to happen in this order. Now, obviously, behind the scenes, there's an awful lot of paperwork and hoops, I suppose is the right way, that have to be jumped through to, I suppose, appease and rectify a lot of the mistakes that have been made. Now, the first scenario is scenario A, and that is by the end of August, we will see the OES back and everything within it is functioning correctly, along with OConnect and all of the free products that are there. So basically exactly the same as before the 24th of June when we went offline. With what server that is going to be with, he didn't mention it, and it doesn't really matter as long as it's all back up and running. That is the most likely scenario because it's the one that he feels that is the one that's going to happen first. Now then, he also said that he wants to give us other scenarios in case that one doesn't happen in time, for again all sorts of reasons that we don't really need to know about, but they are obviously negotiating quite a minefield of problems that have occurred internally that have really put some blocks and spanners in the works, which he talked about yesterday. Now, scenario number 2 is that we see a ecosystem that it is not as full as it was before the 24th of June. What do I mean by full? It probably won't have as many of the products within it that we have seen in the past, but it will be open, it will be functional, and OConnect will be there. And that is likely to happen by the end of September. So 5 weeks' time. That was scenario number 2. The final scenario, which is the least likely to happen because the other two will have happened before, is 3 months. That means within 3 months, by the end of November, we will be up and running fully with the new OES and all of the things that go along with it. But that is the unlikely scenario because he put them in order of likelihood. And obviously the August one is the most likely. But he was giving us the news that this is what's likely to happen, but there might be some spanners in the works that push us back to the September date. Okay, and if that doesn't go according to plan, then we get pushed back for 3 months. But the reality is, for me, and I am going to reiterate this, is for me, as long as the company is still there, as long as I wake up in the morning knowing the company is there, that's, for me, that is comfort enough. It gives me all of the trust and everything that I need to have in our CEO, knowing that he is doing everything behind the scenes for us. Now, myself and Comfort were talking earlier before we went live, and I almost get the impression from our CEO now at the moment that obviously he's been working tirelessly, hasn't he, to make ONPASSIVE work for the benefit of us first, and then obviously the rest of the people who are out there that will come into ONPASSIVE. But I kind of get the feeling that he's got the bit between his teeth now, hasn't he? He really wants to prove something now, that people have done their utmost to derail ONPASSIVE for all sorts of reasons, which we will find out about, obviously. But it's almost given him more of a reason to make this successful and make ONPASSIVE succeed, so that he can show the people, you tried, but you failed. Now look at us. And that gives me, again, an awful lot of satisfaction, knowing that he really has got the bit between his teeth, and he really is going absolutely flat out now to get us to a position where we are operating correctly. There's no glitches, everything's smooth, we get more products coming in, and the business model that we've been told about functions as it should do, which is payments coming in and payments going out. Back to you.
Thank you, Red. So, yeah, sure. I'm happy that you went back to this again, guys. Let's just keep on keeping on. I think we are doing well so far. Congratulations again. And of course, Red, from time to time, I try to remind people of the idea of going back to their accounts. Make sure you keep your email addresses and stuff like that. Do you see the importance of that as well? Like the email, the Gmails, the Yahoo mails and stuff.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. That as it stands at the moment, that is your only avenue to access your accounts, is with your email. Now, in the future, that might all change. Once we've done KYC, there might be other scenarios. I don't know. But as it stands at the moment, that is the only one. Now, to keep your Gmail active is extremely easy. Really, really easy. If you've got multiple accounts and you've got multiple Gmails like I have, and I am not exaggerating by saying this, once a year, all you have to do is send one email from one of those accounts to another Gmail. Once a year. That's all you have to do. You know, it's not a big effort to do it. But if you go more than 2 years without anything happening to that account, then it starts throwing up a few problems. And if you haven't put your recovery information into that account, the Gmail account, correctly, i.e. recovery phone number and a recovery alternative email, then you will find all sorts of problems. And what we don't want to do, guys, is for the sake of not doing something, as in the title of this, then you would be, especially at the moment when there really isn't a lot going on, so you've got no excuse for, you know, not doing it, just send an email from one account to another account and it will keep it active. Like I said, you only have to do it once a year. So put aside 10 minutes and all you have to do is copy and paste, or even put test on the header, okay, and then test in the description and press send, and that will keep your Gmail account active, or in effect, any other email account. And then you know you're good to go. Always, guys, remember as well that keep your passwords in a safe place. We're not logging in on a regular basis now either. Make sure you have those passwords for your OES written down somewhere, because again, you don't want to go to it and then have to reset all your passwords, etc., because you've forgotten them. Okay, spend this time wisely whilst you can, and it will certainly aid you in the weeks and months to come.
Oh, all right. Red, there's someone here. I think this is one of the active founders back home from Cameroon, Chumbo. He says, yesterday, 21st of August, 2024, I lost everything I have achieved in my life in a devastating fire accident. My belongings, certificates, and everything. So pray for me. Once more, congratulations for your consistency in your work. Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to give you the last minute to round up. Maybe you want to give a word of courage to him. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is devastating. I mean, when you lose everything in a fire, it is a devastating scenario, especially when you have certificates, passports, all these sort of things for it. But one thing I will say is that OnPassive is going to be here. If you have an account with OnPassive, then you are certainly going to be in a better situation than somebody who hasn't got an account with OnPassive. How that's going to all pan out for you, then I don't really know, as far as for doing KYCs and stuff, but obviously there is always going to be the scenario where you'll be able to contact support and they will show you a way, especially if you've lost all your documentation in a fire that you may have needed for KYC. There's always a way around things. I'm sure you have notaries in your country as well that can stamp a piece of paper to justify who you are, etc., or whatever the scenario is. But there's always going to be a way around something to legitimize who you are. So don't give up hope. I do sympathize with you. It's an awful thing to happen, but just know that you're in OnPassive. You have the family around you of OnPassivians. We are here to support you emotionally, figuratively, obviously, but probably not financially. You know, we all have our financial burdens that we have to look after ourselves. But what we can do is support you emotionally and pray for you and the rest of your family.
Sure. Thank you, Red. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for joining us. And before you go, guys, I think, like we said earlier on, we all are doing well. Let's remember, every day Red Fern is out there in the chair, or if he sees needs for a quick update, he does his recap. And then we have Marty and Chris with Spotlight. We have Julie with Heart to Heart. We have the OTech Pro every other Saturday at 2 p.m. No, I think noon Eastern Standard Time. And then myself here, I'm trying to come back every day. So let's just keep the fire burning, guys. Just go around anytime you find time, or which of the time zones fit your schedule. Just pop in, have a look. Marcien too has started something in French. So people who speak French, the French community, Marcien is doing something in French, and that's very, very important. So like we would say, we believe that you don't know. If you think that you are too small to make a difference, then stay the night with a mosquito. Come on, come and sit in the chair with Red. Share your heart and see how many people, how many lives you are going to impact. Come to the spotlight.
Absolutely.
Come, yes.
I need. Well, I'm looking for 2 more people for next week. I've already got Tuesday, Wednesday sorted, but I need Thursday and Friday. So if you're from this area, when I mean sort of not America, drop me a line either on my Facebook Messenger or redfern7@gmail.com. I'd love to have you.
Yes. Just let us know, guys. Just don't, because we want everybody here, but we can't get everybody. So if you feel like you want to come, don't be shy. Just let us know. If you want to go to Red and you can't get to him, let me know. I'll get you connected. That's as easy as it is. So thank you, guys, and of course, see you. Thank you, Red. Bye.